What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the other side of the Firewall podcast. We'll talk the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color have made to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon
What's up? What's up?
and LeVon Maynard.
Hey, welcome to the show.
What is going on? So welcome to Tuesday's episode. So definitely tune in for Monday, where we talk about how Meta reported that some of your apps may be stealing your credentials. And then tune in throughout the week. Monday and Tuesday are topics, Wednesday's discussion, and then Fridays, everything else. So it's about movies, books, games, all that good stuff. But without further ado, I give it to LeVon.
Yeah, so today we got an article from the Register. This is from Brandon Vigilario Rolo.
Sorry, Brandon. Sorry, Brandon.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Brandon. I'm sure I'm butchering that name up. It's probably like Big Lario, something like that. But anyway, so this article is titled "Utility Security is So Bad, U.S. Department of Energy Offers Rate Cuts to Improve It." So in this article, basically Brandon goes through and describes this new proposal from the U.S. Department of Energy. They propose regulations to financially reward cybersecurity modernization at power plants by offering rate deals for everything from buying new hardware to paying for outside help. So it looks like, essentially, they're trying to help these sensitive utility companies from being, taken over by hackers, by cyber criminals. They're actually giving them incentives to actually amp up their cyber state and their security posture in their environment. It looks like the article describes, if I go a little bit further down here, rewards that would be applied. The proposal specifies two methods: a return of equity, or ROE, of 200 base points, so 2%, that would be applied to transmission rates, and a cost recovery deferral that would allow them to amortize equipment purchased and treated as regulatory asset. So essentially, they are giving them, options to help strengthen their cybersecurity stance. It doesn't go into details as far as what specifically they can do, as long as it's not something that's already mandated. I think it describes that there's already mandates by the I think it's CRISP, or is it? No, I'm sorry. Yeah, CRISP, the the Critical Infrastructure Protection Reliability Standards. CIPRS. Yeah. The other one is the Cybersecurity Risk Information Sharing Protection. Program. Apologize. But the so the former, the CIPS, CIPRS, that's essentially, they have mandated cybersecurity regulations that they already have in place for these companies. And if they are already using those, or people are trying to adhere to those rules, that they will not be awarded any of these additional benefits. They have to have, I guess, kind of think outside the box a little bit, or think outside of the already required recommendations by these companies, by these organizations. And like I said, doesn't really go into details as far as what's covered, but I know they mentioned some like cybersecurity training, and even maybe some other types of equipment that maybe aren't really thought about in some of these situations. But I think it's good overall. I mean, obviously, these are some of the most sensitive infrastructure, or most sensitive like organizations and systems that we have in place, the power plants. And I can imagine that any nation state actor, or whatever you want to call it, would be focused on these facilities as a point of attack if they were to, engage in some sort of act of war. Like, I know, obviously, we're talking about Russia and Ukraine, the stuff that's going on there. I can imagine that they've been heavily focused on protecting their infrastructure and protecting their power plants. And we already know that some of their the power plants have been attacked and have been actually shelled and things like that. But those are some of the most sensitive, sensitive things that we have in our country. Can you imagine like your power going out and you're at your house and being down for months, or how you'd be able to like make do? You won't be able to keep your food cold and you don't have no refrigerator, you don't have like, your heat if it's cold in the winter or something like that. Obviously you won't have a lot of source of communication if your phone systems are, phone systems down, or if your cell phone tower is not available, things like that. It's like you're going to be kind of out of luck. So those are kind of something that they're very focused on protecting. And I'm glad that they're using some sort of program here to help incentivize these facilities. But I guess with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Shannon. What do you think about this one?
So that last part you mentioned, man, like it's kind of it's funny, right? Because the people that are living off the grid, that we kind of be like, oh man, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like they'll be the ones that survive all of this, right? They'll be like, nope, I got my propane right here. You know what I mean? Like,
That's right.
I'm good to go. I got my oil tank over here, that I use for heating in the winter. It's crazy. Yeah, we become so reliant on it, but it's good that they realize they're a soft spot, right? Like it's one of those things where it's like Department of Energy is like, hey, we realize this is a problem, right? And there's some things that have been put in place over the last 2 years with the current administration that they're trying to combat these things, right? Like when it comes to sharing of information and things of that nature, to where some of this stuff may happen now with different rules that are being put into place, but they're like, hey, we need it faster than is being provided. You know what I mean? All what's going on. I know just this week in Colorado, the Colorado.gov sites got hit by a attack that they believe was Russian motivated, to where the websites for the government were down, right? So like it's legit. Now, granted, that's not infrastructure, right? It wasn't going to our electrical grid or our gas or anything like that, right? So it wasn't on that scale or of that nature, but it's still one of those things where it's kind of inconvenient, right? Like you got people that are doing different things that have to go through the Colorado.gov website that they just can't do right now. You know what I mean? So it is an interesting thing. I'm glad they see it. I'm glad they see it as a soft spot. I'm glad they're incentivizing people to help, do things to prevent these types of things from happening. Because again, like I'm not a vegetarian. I can't go without my meat, right? If JBS gets hits again, like I might have to fly to Brazil. You know what I mean? I might have to, hey, what can I do for y'all? You know what I mean? I need my pork. I need my beef. I need y'all to keep giving it to me. You know what I mean? Like,
that's right.
I'm not growing my food in my backyard. I'm not a rabbit. I'm not doing that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this is an interesting story. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like, yeah, because there are probably people out there with the skill set to help them or to suggest things that may be good for them that just had no way of doing so, right? Like they're like, I don't know how I get the information that I know or that I think can help over to, Department of Energy or wherever to help out with these different types of things. And it's good that they reached out like this. But Ryan, what's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I completely agree. So I think it's a good initiative from the Department of Energy. I think it being incentivized for the next 5 years and then depreciating over 5 years, like motivates them to hurry up, let's get here so you can get the biggest bang for your buck. Because in 5 years you get paid nothing, right? It'll just be something you're supposed to be doing. I also think that just the jobs that it'll stimulate the economy, right? It should bring in more jobs, should bring in more people purchasing upgrades for said equipment, because there's some certain SCADA systems that just cannot be updated or cannot be connected to the internet. They're just that dated, right? Like, because they just work. Like some stuff just works, right? So you don't really want to necessarily upgrade if you're not incentivized to do so. So in this case, like, okay, I'm going to get my money back in some shape or form. I'm going to cross the finish line before it's due and it costs me even more money. That's when prices will go up, right? Like, oh, well, the government has to buy this now, so let's raise it by 2 to 3 times what it would normally cost for them to purchase it. So I think it is a good initiative, and I hope it carries on through this administration and or the next, like regardless of who's in the seat. We have to make sure we harden all of our critical infrastructure. So I think it is a great initiative. And just in general, right? Because like LeVon said, like we're currently seeing Ukraine struggling in some respects, keeping their progress up. Even before the Shannon started, there was DDoS attacks that were being stopped by bigger corporations like Google and Microsoft, because they just saw distributed denial of service attacks, being blasted before the war even began. So again, great initiative. I hope it keeps up. I hope when we talk about this again, there's even more incentive where they'll say like there was job growth or something like that that came out of it. So definitely good to see. With that being said, I'll bring this episode to a close. Definitely continue to tune in throughout the week. So Monday and Tuesday are topics. So yesterday, if you have not heard it, we talked about Meta reporting on some bad apps out there that were stealing credentials. And then tomorrow we'll talk about the Uber data breach conviction, and then what kind of effect that may have, I should say, on the industry. Tune in to all of our social medias. They go by our name. You can hit me up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy on LinkedIn, Clubhouse, and Twitter. And you, LeVon?
Yes, sir. You can hit me up on the Twitters at LeVon Maynard.
There it is. Stay safe, stay secure.